Well, just to sort of turn the page on this last game, nothing really different in the film, other than when you look at things closely, you always find things that you can improve on and areas that we can execute better. But the effort in this last game, the toughness that we played with, the physical nature of the way we ran to the ball, gang tackled, all those things are real positive energy type things that we really want to build on. But it's really kind of time to, turn the page on, this last game and turn our attention to Tennessee and what we need to do to prepare to play, our best football against a very good team. We had some guys that had outstanding performances last week. Ari Kwanjo, TJ Yeldon, defensively Ryan Anderson, Reggie Ragland, specialists Reuben Foster and Dylan Lee. We have no real new updates on injuries. Ryan Kelly will be coming back this week. Austin Shepard will probably be limited for a day, or two. But other than that, we got some guys that are nicked up a little bit, but everybody's ready to practice today and get going. This game that we have every year with Tennessee is one of the great rivalry games in college football, and certainly has a lot of tradition and something that has been very special and means a lot to a lot of our fans, and certainly means a lot to me and our staff and our team. Tennessee, I think, has a much improved team. In a lot of ways, they could be 5-2 very easily. They lost two really close games to Georgia and Florida, and had opportunities to be successful in the game. I think it starts with the fact that they've got very good skilled players and a very good quarterback on offense, most of which have quite a bit of experience. Defensively, they're much improved. I mean, almost 100 yards a game, less yards than a year ago, a lot fewer points. Really play well in the secondary and have done a good job in pass defense, and their front seven has done a good job. So this to me is a much improved team, and it will take a very good effort on our part in terms of what we have to do to play up there on the road, to focus and execute like we need to have success.
I have two, Coach, and I guess the first one is inevitable. Do you think there'll be any distraction with Coach Kiffin going back to Knoxville? Was there any distraction when you went back to Baton Rouge? Do you have any advice for him on how to handle that situation?
Well, I think it's only a distraction if you allow it to be a distraction. I mean, I always sort of use the analogy that when I was at Michigan State, we always had all these things that were going to happen when we went and played at Notre Dame. I mean, the Gipper was coming back and speaking to the team, and all these things were going to happen. But what I used to always tell the team is that really doesn't mean anything unless it means something to you. So if it doesn't mean anything to us, and we can stay focused on what we need to do what's best for our team, then I think that's the way you manage it, and that's the way you handle it, and that's the way we need to look at it. So it doesn't really mean anything to us. The game, our players, their players, that's what means something to us, and that's what should mean something to every coach on our staff.
And my other one, team-related, talk about the improvement in Reggie Ragland this year and sort of how the light has gone on for him on defense.
Well, Reggie's played very well for us and gotten better and better every week. Thinking back to the first game of the year, and a guy that hadn't played a lot, new starter, mental errors, lack of confidence. Each week, all those things have improved dramatically, and his production has certainly reflected that in the quality of his play and also in production points. So Reggie's a big, physical, fast, guy that his improvement has been welcome defensively, and I think it's impacted, the success that we've had on defense the last couple games.
The offensive production went way up on Saturday. Was there any changes in schemes, any plans changed from Arkansas to Saturday?
You know, we have a game plan for every game. I think what it comes down to is not the scheme, but the execution thereof. And I think that's what we should really stay focused on is, you know, what we want to do, sound solid against what the other team likes to do. But the big thing is how do we execute? So it's not the changes that you make necessarily in the scheme. It's the changes in the way you execute the things that you do relative to what the other team does.
How much did the big men on not just the offensive line but also the defensive front kind of set the tone for that game Saturday against Texas A&M? Was that good to see even without?
Well, you know what I'd rather focus on is what it's going to do in this game. If we could talk about that, I mean, the last game is kind of over. You know, we did a good job in the game. The lines did a good job in the game. We did a better job on the offensive line. We need to improve on that. We need to build on that. Defensive line did a good job in the game. There was a lot of pass rush, not a lot of run. It's going to be different, you know, in this game. I think we need to improve and continue to build on, you know, the positive energy that we have so that we can play better in this game.
When you're facing an offensive line that's struggling like Tennessee's is this year, do you get more aggressive in your game planning, or is it kind of just business as usual?
Well, you know, I think that we're always trying to do the best job to put our players in the best position to have success. And, you know, I think that Tennessee has a lot of explosive players at receiver, good young runner, and they're very capable offensively of moving the ball and making explosive plays, which they made quite a few against us last year. And, you know, their offensive line, in my mind, is very capable of being effective, and I think the thing that we need to do is focus on what we need to do to, you know, dominate the line of scrimmage and try to affect the quarterback in a way that will not allow them to make the plays with the really good skill players that they have.
When you have generally speaking, when you have a player or coach going into a situation where they might be sort of targeted with negative attention, can that raise players' focus or sort of galvanize a team or a side of the ball in a way?
You know, I have no idea, really. I mean, you know, the only experience that I have is when I went back to Baton Rouge, and, you know, it was very negative, you know, getting hung in effigy, burned at the stake. I mean, just about everything could happened, and, you know, but the way I try to manage that with the players is to let them know that that was going to happen in advance, all right, and not to be affected by it, all right, and that it would probably be pretty rowdy when we got off the bus to go in the locker room, but that really would have nothing to do with what happened in the game, and that was going to come down to what we did on the field. So, and I would hope that, you know, it's our approach to do the same thing in this game.
Just wondered from now until going back to the first game, how much more confidence is the secondary playing with, especially after this past week going into this game?
Well, you know, I think we're improving, and I think it's important that we continue to improve and play with more consistency. Guys are playing together better. I think for the first time we have the whole group back playing. You know, Eddie was out for a while, Jarek was out for a while. You know, so, you know, I think that's helpful to have that kind of continuity, and hopefully we can continue to build on that.
Coach, obviously Butch has been brought back to rejuvenate Tennessee. You had the same situation coming here when he wanted you to rejuvenate Alabama. Just speak to the challenge that he's having and how you feel like he's handling it.
Well, you know, I think that, you know, Butch has done a really good job there. They're doing a good job of recruiting. Their players, you know, really play hard and with a lot of discipline. They don't get penalized much. They've got a very good scheme, both sides of the ball. They're very sound in terms of what they do. So, I mean, and I think he's focused on coaching his philosophy of what he wants to do to have a successful program, and I think the players are responding to it in a very positive way, and I think they played really well this year. You know, I made the statement before, you know, they lose by 3 to Georgia and they lose by 1 point to Florida, or they're a 5-2 team, and everybody looks at them in a completely different light. So we have a tremendous amount of respect for Butch and the job that he's doing and their team.
All the way to the back, Scott.
Coach, if you could talk about the inter-game communication from staff to Blake to team offensively, what you learned on the road in the 2 SEC games, and what you think you need to improve going on the road again, if there's anything.
Well, you know, I don't think it was a communication issue. I think it was, you know, focus and execution has to be better. We can't be affected by the external factors that are involved in playing on the road. We've got to have a better energy level to execute what we want to do, and the quarterback is really the starting point of all that in terms of being able to manage the game and get us in and out of the right plays and make the right checks. And I think that all starts with the preparation, and I think it's really, really important, you know, that we have great preparation this week because it is a challenge that we have to overcome, especially offensively. But I think it's going to be really important that, you know, we play really, really good on defense as well, because they have a good defensive team, and it's going to be a challenge for us offensively to be able to execute the way we need to have success.
How do you sustain the team's kind of energy and enthusiasm and execution after a performance like you saw on Saturday, going into, you know, now this week of practice in the game?
Well, I think that's everybody's choice. You know, I think everybody chooses their energy. I think that's everybody's choice. And, you know, hopefully our team will choose, you know, that kind of positive energy, that kind of positive attitude in terms of what they want to build on and what they want to accomplish, and understand the importance of, you know, good energy early in the week to have great preparation so that you're confident going into the game and feel like you can go execute and do the things you need to do.
You mentioned getting Jarek back and Eddie back. Jarek made a play that I'm assuming you liked the effort on that when he got flipped and got back up and still made the tackle. What does he bring to you guys, especially a healthy Jarek playing?
Well, you know, Jarek's just a guy that's played a lot of football around here, has a lot of experience. He's a bigger, more physical guy, and you know, I think his knowledge and experience helps him put himself in a good position. You know, most of the time the play that you're referring to was actually a play that they'd never run before, and we kind of put ourselves in not great position, and he ended up getting cut and popped right back up and made the play. But that's the kind of effort, I think, and energy that we're talking about, enthusiasm, whatever you want to call it, that we really want to emphasize our players playing that way and playing hard and having fun in the way they play, and enjoying what they do, and being excited about having the opportunity and the challenges that are presented to us, rather than, you know, worried about having success in the challenges that are presented to us, and not focusing on the process of things that we need to do so that we can have success.